Well, hello, model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Ral, and this week we're gonna jump into a vintage kit here and really get into the contents of this one because this one is unbuilt. And this is Mark Donahue's Trans Am Javelin here. And if you guys have been watching the channel, you know I'm a bit of a Javelin nut, AMC nut. I just really like all of those cars, and even though they are harder, rarer. A lot of these I've been collecting over the years, the past 20 years, rebuilders and picking them up. Sometimes when a decent deal comes my way, I've picked up some of these kits. I know these can be expensive on eBay. I bought a lot of builders. And for a while, I used to stay away from the race cars because I wanted to build the factory stock ones. And there's not a whole lot of factory stock parts in this particular one. But I think they sold better, but they're, much more higher in demand. But anyway, I do have a rebuilder of this one. Here's some pictures of it. I've shown it on the channel before. That one's kind of torn apart at the moment, as I started to get the chrome ready to get some stuff sent out to get chrome plated. We'll give Spotlight Hobbies a try with some of that stuff. So that's what's going on with that rebuilder. So, and then this one, it's a complete kit from what I remember of it, and we'll go over all of its contents here and everything. But this one, as I mentioned, you can only build it as the race car. It says it's Mark Donahue's, but it says go with the winning SCCA team, build a Sunoco Javelin of either Mark Donahue, which is number 6, or his teammate Peter Revson, number 9. And you can see the number 9 car here, the number 6 car here. Kind of interesting. The name is not on the car, so it's funny. It's the actual same decal sheet. You just flip the 6 or 9 over. Nothing really extra there. There's a side there. Here's some of the races it's won. Not sure if that's the only races that the Javelin team won in 1970. I do know that the Javelin team didn't win the SCCA that year. Mustang won it with the Boss 302, won more races with that car. Yeah, this is Brighton Race Circuit in New York, 2.85 mile course. First win for the Javelin. Road America 4-mile course in Wisconsin. That's win number 2. And then win number 3 was the Lost Circuit Tremblant 2.65 mile course in Quebec. So kind of cool. Don't know much about the actual race history, but the cars themselves are really cool. With the wheels and everything. So let's dive into this one, and I'll show you the contents of it. So starting with we'll go that to the side here. The instruction sheets here. Doesn't tell you much about the car itself, but I do know your very simple painting directions. That's kind of funny. Body gloss white, red, and blue. Chassis flat black. Interior gloss white. Engine is blue. So, okay, that's really the only painting guide you get. But here's the engine with the, air cleaner, the cold air or cowl induction or, whatever. It ducts right to the back of the windshield. The rest of it is pretty much the same as the stock car other than headers. Never really cared for these flexible hoses that a lot of these kits have, the Javelins have, but that's what's in the kit. And, top and bottom. Not really a molded hose. Here's the roll cage and the race interior, race dash, firewall, the fire suppression system, looks more of a lever and everything. That may have been hardwired for safety, for the suppression. The shifter, which I recognize that from the Rambler steering wheel. And we got this side here. We got the engine going in place, the chassis, which has no exhaust system at all. Here's the race headers and the side exiting exhaust. Then we got the body here, hood, covers, all these covers here, the grill insert, radiator wall, front spoiler, the quarter window with the side post, gas caps, the rear spoiler, window straps, and, the rear bumper and tail lights, and, the whole assembly. Pretty easy, quick kit to actually build. May need some cleanup. Here are those decals, which I'm hoping these are usable. I've got a couple of sets of them. Picked them up here and there. But they look pretty good. May just have to lay a little bit more clear coat on them and hope they come out really nice. So, but there they are. And of course, number 6 or number 9, doesn't matter. Flip it over. So, kind of fun, clever. But I did scan those decals too, just in case I'm going to need them later. I'll start diving into some of these parts. Let's move that off the side. Let's start with the bag stuff, or maybe not the bag stuff. Let's start with the tires. So here's the tires, still on the thing, and then a couple of the metal axles. These early kits, or original kits, had metal axles, but a lot of the later reissues, which I don't think this one was ever reissued, had the plastic axles in them. But here's the Goodyear tires. Some of these old Johan have 2-piece tires, and some have 1-piece tires. These are the 1-piece ones. I like these, but most noticeable is some of the other ones have 2-piece ones. Trying to think of a kit or two that has them. The Rebel Machine pops into my mind, has 2-piece tires. So the first time I saw that, I thought, oh, cool, I got 2 sets of tires. And I realized, nope, I got 1 set, and I just got halves. But I would trim this side out and put the wheel in that side, because this side is a little bit warped on some of these. Requires a little bit of flash trimming. But sometimes when they've been like this for so long, it's hard to get them straightened back out. But there's the tires. We'll get this back in the bag. A lot of this has just been put in the bags for storage and whatnot. And some of it's been so long because, I didn't own this kit this whole time. Here's some of the glass shoved in here. And so here's their taillights, which these are kind of funny because they're actually painted. They're not transparent red plastic. You can put this in the paint stripper, super clean. That's what I use. And it'll take this right off, and then you'll have clear taillights, and you can reapply your stoplight red on it. Then one of the things that's kind of unique to these kits, or this one, is it's got the quarter windows. There's 2 of them here. And I'll point out the chrome pieces too. But they're in there where the streetcar kits don't have that. They just got the glass. I'll jump right into this chrome tree. Only because some of this stuff has fallen off. So here we've got, and maybe some of it taken off on purpose, because the chrome on this one actually looks pretty good. But here's one of the mini lights. Here's the other mini lights. So I got 2 of the 4 wheels. Here's the other 2. Here's the shifter, side mirrors, inside rearview mirror. Then we got the block off plugs for the front turn signals, the hood scoop. Those are the gas caps on both sides, the alternator. This breather for the engine, but super long. I don't know if they did that on purpose for the race car or not. Kind of wonder. Kind of like these gas ones are pretty long too, but I think that's done that way. Valve covers. And these are the A-pillar, or not really A-pillar, B-pillar, right on the window glass. They go, for reference, they go right here to give you that piece of chrome. That's kind of cool. My rebuilder still has them, but, may have to make them. I wasn't sure, but I'm pretty sure they're there on the rebuilder. So that's most of the chrome. So let's put this back in here for a second. Love these Ziploc bags for protecting some of this stuff. Of course, it doesn't want to go in there at the moment. Whoa, don't go flying. I saw the carburetor sitting on another piece. Here's the bumpers. These bumpers are in nice shape, so somebody had wrapped them in tissue to help protect them. But there's the rear bumper, which doesn't say Javelin. Some of the race cars didn't say Javelin, but the fronts, maybe did. This one doesn't say Javelin either, which is how they were. I have some that say Javelin. The stock cars say Javelin, and the race cars tend to not, depending on the kit, like the 70. So we'll wrap those back up and get right into the meat and potatoes of the kit here. There we go. There, dump that out. And we'll see if there's any damage on some of this stuff, or there usually is on a kit this old. So, spread some of this out here. Okay, well, here we'll start with, There's a little bit of tire melt right there on the bottom half of the air cleaner, but that won't be visible. There's the top of the air cleaner. It's got a small mark there. The firewall. And here's where the axles go through the chassis, the race seat, the fan blade, and of course the radiator support firewall. Then we've got right here, here is the wheel backs, upper and lower radiator hoses. That's the bypass hose. Here's the exhaust for the that come out the sides. Here's the fire extinguisher parts, the handle and the mount, which you see the other side of it there. We got the headers, half the headers. There's one of them and both the collectors. Here's another header, and hopefully I got the other header in the bag. So we'll check that here in a minute. And then this is all the roll cage here. We got all these roll bar pieces. The sides, the main hoop. Here's the windshield or headlight block offs to cover the glass. And then here's the rear window supports. Those are cool. I see a little bit of damage on the roll bars here a little bit. All of that can be easily fixed, thankfully. So there's that. And then we got a lot of the loose parts right here. This is pretty much like most of the engine stuff. Here's the race dash. So if you can see that with all the gauges and stuff. Definitely not the same as the stock. Here's the rear spoiler. It's got a little bit of a melt on it right there, but that's easily fixable. So here's that carburetor that we'll leave it in with the engine stuff, but should be in the things. Here's the other fourth of the header. So there's the last one that's missing. We got our engine block halves with real tiny little holes for the axle to go through it. So that might be fun getting those to line up and see if they glue right, getting all that to line up. But being an early casting, there's not as much flash. And everything is nice and clean with some really nice glue joints. The later ones seemed a whole lot sloppier in that respect. Here's the cylinder heads. You can tell I've done a bunch of these. Of course, you watch on the channel, you can search all my Javelins. You can see a bunch of built up. Here's the water pump, which is the back half of the water pump. The front half is on here. I like how none of this stuff is numbered. There's the front of the water pump, the belts, oil pan, intake, starter, master cylinder without a brake booster. Come both ways, but this one's no booster. There's the distributor, and right next to is a coil, barely mounted. On the later kits, that's like a big blob and almost unrecognizable. It just kind of looks like something stuck there, but it's nice and clean on this one, so you can really see it. And then some of the leftover parts here. Here's the steering wheel, which is the stock steering wheel, not really a race one. I have seen a race version of this. I believe it's in the later kits. And here's the front spoiler. This is pretty cool. Mounts right on that bumper. And there it goes. So there's that. The oil filter right here. Get that in screen. And then the grill that goes in the bumper. So there's all the parts to that. So didn't notice anything actually missing from this one. Just a couple of small little things to fix. But nothing catastrophic, nothing I can't deal with. But this one, I'll probably end up building, since I got a couple of rebuilders, I'll probably build one as the number 6 car and one as the number 9 car. But it's kind of fun to look over this stuff. And then also, here we go, before I forget to cover this stuff. Here's the Javelin glass. Needs a little bit of polishing. But and these are different between the 68 through 70. The biggest difference is right here where the roof kicks up. It's much higher in that arc. So if you're looking for vintage glass and you're trying to find one that fits this kit, you got to make sure you know what you're looking for. The AMX glass looks the same too, but it has a quarter windows and it's much shorter. So the windshields will interchange between all of them, but the back window is where they're all different. So this is the 68 through 71. Really hard to find. Here is that chassis with nothing molded into it. So no gas tank, no exhaust system. I got a couple of marks on here too, but that's okay. I believe I actually got like another chassis or two that's really nice. But there's that. So set those off to the side. Here's that interior tub with no back seat. This is specific to the race car, of course. Has all the extra mounts for the one seat, the stuff for the cage, all the holes for the cage, and then the fire extinguisher system all on there. So there's all that. And then we've got the hood. The hood is actually the same between stock and non-stock. I get real nervous about getting these out of here. But yeah, there's the 70 Javelin and AMX hood. With the stock scoops, it's got those plates to cover them up for the race car. And then there's the underside of it. Really nice hood. And here's the body. Now the body is race car only. There are some differences. The main thing, it's kind of funny. It does have Javelin on the back here, although that's covered by the spoiler. So being, this is, an unbuilt kit, so it's kind of surprising to see that. As I built my other ones as like Mark Donahue, so I didn't have that emblem back there. But the emblem is missing, and all the rest of the emblems are missing. So there's nothing on the pillar here, nothing here. The marker lights are here, which the race car didn't have. So you'll have to sand them off. But it's also got the exhaust cutouts at the bottom. Wheel openings are just fine. Nothing changed there. And then also on the body, it's got these on the very front windshield there to retain the glass. So there's those 3 there, and then there's 2 underneath the wipers. 1 there, and 1 on this side, which is actually tucked up under the wiper. So those will pick out. And then, of course, the gas fillers on both sides. So there's those. So that's what differentiates the stock version versus this one. So a lot of race car only parts in this particular one. Now I do have a 3-in-1 70 Javelin that's part race car, part funny car, and stock car. I did do a video on that one a few years back. I'll put a link to it at the end of the video, actually, in the video links. I'll put a link to that, and I'll also put it in the video description here. But these are fun. So, matter of fact, I got, let's see, this one. Here's my rebuilder I just kind of threw over here up to the side. So, there's that. Like I said, I pulled all the chrome off of it. Marker lights will have to be sanded, but that's kind of what she looks like. But I've shown this kind of before. This one's going to get rebuilt and redone. So, but it was done very nicely. So this will be a nice, clean, easy restore. And see what I mean? It's got the wing on it. You can't see the emblem. So I've never seen one with the emblem on the back of the race car. So that's what she looks like. This will be a nice, easy build. I got the rest of the stuff in here. But here's that. I tossed the front bumper that was already chrome plated, but it does have the Javelin logo on it. But the front bumper without the Javelin logo is going to get chromed along with the rear bumper and the wheels. And there's the taillight I was mentioning with a little less paint on it. So I'll strip that and rebuild it. And in here is 2 sets, I believe. 1, 2. Yeah, 2 more sets of decals. So that were shipped to me. eBay purchases. So, and then a lot of the miscellaneous little parts that are missing, but not everything. The block off plates on here and on the front of the bumper were never really applied, so those are missing. But they should be easy to fabricate. But anyway, that was a nice, fun little look into this particular kit here. So we'll continue on. And I hope you enjoyed this. This is kind of fun to look at all these kits that are unbuilt and how they are and how they came and everything. So you guys, thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and all your comments. I really do appreciate those. So leave a comment. I do appreciate it. You guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time.